I'm Aaron.
And I'm Sean Patrick.
And I'm Ryan.
And we don't talk politics.
I'm really excited that we get to talk about Baby Yoda today, guys.
You said you weren't going to do that.
Come on. I said I wasn't going to do the joke, but then I figured I would do the joke because I told you guys about the joke, and then that makes it okay because you're in on it with me. And because we're talking like we're pulling fourth wall kind of stuff here, hold on, I got to open up my G Fuel. It's the sound of my my PewDiePie limited edition energy drink.
Limited edition. You opened a limited edition? It could have been worth millions in like 1,000 years.
It came in packs of 4. I don't think that's the case.
No, a case is 12.
Hey,
well,
that guy.
For a case
that's
of
our
beer,
friend,
but...
and I love him. Hi guys.
Hi, Sean Patrick.
Yeah, how are you guys doing?
You know what? I'm having a good day. It's
haven't gamed with each other for a couple of days. Took a couple days off from. Why not? I did at least.
Yeah, So we played Overwatch through the Lunar New Year event.
Did yesterday.
Yesterday. Okay, and I played with you guys through the reset last week. That's what I did. Yep. And then I think I haven't even played Warzone. I don't think I've gamed. Have I not gamed yet this week?
You texted you were going on COD.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I ever did. I didn't hear anything from Brent, and so it never happened, and I didn't really get it up.
I didn't see anybody on last night. I got on and I played Overwatch with Matt and Jamie, and then the last 2 nights before that I played Smite, but I just figured I'd be a little burnout or something. Which is cool. It's okay to take a break.
How are you liking Smite? Is it actually good?
I like it. It's easy. You don't have to think.
He tried getting us on it when we played in PlayStation.
I never played it.
It's good. I like it. Just watch I did the stream. There's video of it.
You sent me that text.
No, you're good.
Passed out.
You're fine.
I was like, oh my gosh, we're not gaming. I think I'm going to watch a movie and go to bed early.
So yeah, the video
and I did.
Will be on there for 30 days or whatever.
I'll watch it. Yeah, I decided to go through the new Godzilla movies in preparation for Godzilla vs. Kong. So I watched Godzilla 2 nights ago when we didn't game, and then I watched Kong Skull Island last night.
What'd you think of Kong Skull Island? Skull Island.
I fucking loved it. It was so corny, but it was so fun.
It was good.
I thought it was way better than Godzilla. That first Godzilla I was kind of bored with. I was like, this is basically just a disaster movie. And you don't get to see the monster. Well, you didn't get to see Godzilla anyways, that much. But,
I really liked the newest Godzillas.
I haven't watched that one. That's the next one. I don't know if I'll do that tonight or tomorrow night, but the one with 11 from Stranger Things, isn't it?
Yeah. The first one, the second one. I've never been a big King Kong guy. I can't really get into him. I'm a pro-Zilla man myself. I have a funny story about Godzilla. We did so me and my old man back in the day, we used to go on these quote unquote camping trips. They weren't camping. We were staying in a cabin, but up at Dolliver Park, we used to go there, and every year we would stay for a couple nights in this little cabin at the state park. And one day, I remember the first time we get there and it's too hot or too cold. I think it was too cold to go and fish or anything like that. It was rainy. It just wasn't a good day. So he's like, what do you, and he of course didn't bring any food. So we should probably go to town and eat. So we go to town and he's like, well, I don't know, what do you want to do? And it's like, well, I mean, go back to the park, right? And he's just like, no. I was like, okay. Again, I had been too cold to fish or whatever. So is like, can we see a movie? It's like, yeah, we can see a movie. So we go and we look at the posters, and there's Godzilla 2000. I'm like,
Yeah.
Godzilla 2000. This is that year. Oh my God. So we walk in. Well, the kid that we buy the tickets from gives us this really weird looks like, are you sure? And then we go in and we sit down, and there's this one dude, classic, like he'd be our friend. He's just this big dude sitting there in his shorts and t-shirt. He's got his McDonald's with him and his popcorn. And he turns around and goes, figured I'd be the only one in here to see this movie. By the way, this is in Fort Dodge, Iowa. So it's not like it's like some sort of metropolis.
Right.
And they're like, no, we're here too. And then we sit down and the movie starts.
Sean Patrick.
We sit down and the movie starts. And it's Godzilla 2000. And for the uninitiated, it's an old Godzilla movie from back in the day but like done new. Like it's not a remaster. Like it was made in 2000 or whatever. That's when it was released new.
That wasn't terrible.
It was awful. Because it's like the claymation, and it was
No, it was just really early terrible CGI because it was coming off the heels of the Matrix.
So how old were we in 2000? 16, 17?
14 or 15.
14 or 15.
14 or 15.
I haven't seen it since.
Oh, really?
But I was not a fan when I was 14 or 15. Now that you're saying this makes me want to consider not go out.
Well, I mean, if you're a Godzilla fan, then why not? I mean, that could be a whole other episode too. It's talking about Godzilla and Kong, by the way.
We talk about Godzilla and Gorillaz, the band.
Do all of Godzilla's rivals.
Yeah, see, I'm just now coming into that rival stuff too, but
I grew up on the black and white
I loved Kong Skull Island. I thought that was phenomenal. That actually made me like King Kong.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it. The Godzilla ones I love the Godzilla ones so much more though. They're incredible.
I'm really excited on that first one. I mean, I'd seen the first one. I just got kind of bored with it. It's just like, okay, the guy that plays Kick-Ass. You know, he's gonna live through this. He's gonna live through that. He's gonna live through this. A bunch of buildings are getting torn down, but you're not really seeing what's happening. I was like, but then the end,
kind of like when a lone cop goes to a Christmas party at his ex-wife's work, and he keeps just living through this.
Are you comparing Godzilla to Die Hard?
I'm comparing the classic trope that the hero lives through everything.
No, these are world disasters.
I'm just trying to be a dick.
I know.
I'm just trying to be a dick.
But I will say, the end, though, when you finally get to see more Godzilla, have you seen it, Eric?
I haven't seen any of the newer Godzillas.
Are you going to
Probably not.
Okay. When he grabs the big thing's mouth and rips it, like holds it open and then breathes his fire down to the dude's mouth and just makes him explode or whatever.
By dude, he means other monster.
Yeah, I don't mean Godzilla takes his
little
huge,
man,
ginormous hands and I think he could just rip him in half if he wanted to.
Whispers down against
But all right. But yes, moving on. Who wants to introduce the topic for today?
Hi, Aaron.
Hello. Today, we're talking about an old Slavic folklore character named the Baba Yaga.
Is that how you pronounce it? I thought I would, because Baby Yoda, Baba Yaga.
I have on good Russian.
Yaga.
I actually asked the lovely Tatiana to give me a voice recording of how to say it because she corrected me when I called it Baba Yaga or Baba Yaga.
Baba Yaga. Baba Yaga.
Because in the movie I watch, all they call her is the Yaga, or however
Baba.
They don't even say the Baba part.
Just say Yaga.
But that's probably because they obviously don't need to, I guess, because it's Russian.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, I've heard like Yaga means a couple of different, like it means a whole bunch of different things.
I honestly can't even remember how they said it in the movie now that I think about it. I just remember mentally remembering that they didn't say Baba. I mean, they might have the very first time, but I'll talk about my movie first then while you're looking that up, trying to find it. Well, I rented a movie because that's what I do. I like movies. It's called The Baba Yaga, Terror of the...
Yaga,
whatever. Terror of Dark Forest. I rented it for $5 on Voodoo in preparation for the podcast here. It
so
wasn't...
You said it was called Terror... I just snorted. You said it was called Terror of the Dark Forest?
Yeah, Baba Yaga, Terror of Dark...
Yaga!
Terror of the Dark Forest.
I'm sorry. Baba Yaga, Terror of the Dark Forest.
Yeah.
Okay.
First, I was super disappointed that it was dubbed in English. I was super excited to actually hear all the Russian accents and just read subtitles. Like, that's just what I assumed.
It automatically dubbed over?
Yep. I looked
That's
through the
kinda
settings, and there's no way to put it back into Russian and then just have captions on the bottom, subtitles. Can't have any of it. It was just dubbed in English. Yeah. So right away, I was kind of pissed off about that. I've always wanted to learn Russian. I think it's one of the coolest sounding languages.
Russians
but anyways,
and
the movie itself... Yep. The movie itself was...
Girlfriend's learning German right now on Duolingo. She did really well.
It was okay.
Sorry.
The movie's all right.
All right. Okay.
You don't get to see the witch, really.
Oh.
When you do, she's made of yarn.
Just had that happen before.
I don't know. So when you guys research...
What kind of monster is this?
Well,
when
you'll have
you
to
can
tell
just
me
take shears to her.
Well, you can't. That's kind of... You'll have to tell me about your guys' research, because in the movie, what she does is she spins these yarns that lead through everywhere throughout the forest, and it's supposed to lure kids to follow the yarn into her furnace, essentially. And then it,
And she
eats
makes a
them.
roast.
She eats their souls, is what she does.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, it's
Cool.
it's a spooky movie, but it really wasn't.
It's super scary.
It wasn't that good. I think the whole dubbing it in English thing was just pissing. me
That'll
off
throw
the
off a
entire
good
Yeah,
time. Yeah, because
the voice acting's always subpar.
right, and I could tell that the actors were actually doing a good job, because a couple of them were kids, obviously, because it's focused around luring children into the forest to be eaten.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I wouldn't recommend renting it for $5.
Mhm.
If it comes with Redbox of Halloween for $1, just because if you're interested in
Is
the Baba
Redbox
Yaga.
still a thing?
Oh,
by the
yeah.
way?
Yeah, I
Never
got
mind.
those
two
Sorry.
of them in Norwalk
Keep
still.
me on track here. Keep me on
Yeah,
track.
They've got online too
Um,
now, don't they? You can just rent online.
Yeah, I got rid of online too. I don't
Do
know.
they
I don't
have
know
the
the price.
kiosks
Still has the
anymore?
physical
Yeah,
kiosk.
I got 2 kiosks in
They're on
Norwalk.
the Walgreens
I
over
got
by
one at
my
McDonald's and
Don't
one
say.
Come and Go.
You know what? That's never mind. I haven't.
You're
never
thinking
looked for kiosks in a long
Blockbuster.
time. They stopped. No,
Nope, Hollywood Video.
They stopped. Redbox stopped doing video games. I went to go rent the.
yeah.
I went to go pick up the new Cold War on PS4, and they didn't have
They
it.
stopped.
I was like, "What the French toast?"
Yeah.
Movies.
I remember movies.
Yeah.
So I first saw South Park was from a movies. My brother and his now wife, we went back to their apartment and watched South Park together. I thought it was amazing. I was also like 11, and I do not.
At
Think
the
it's
time,
amazing
it
anymore.
would push the envelope for sure. The show
Yeah,
still.
it
I
did.
was just going to
cussing.
quote it, but I thought it better.
It's like
Jokes
this
and
is
the like.
I better not.
So what I know of the Baba Yaga from research.
Well, hold on, real
Oh,
quick.
geez.
So
I swear.
the production value. Oh my Lanta! I swear. I swear.
And
what the
I
heck
swear
kind of segue is that?
By the moon,
By the moon
and the
and the
stars in the
stars in the
sky. All right, your turn.
I'll be there, Ryan. Was the how's the production value of the movie? It
Good.
was like grade A, like strong title, like, like probably really brought some cash in
In Russia.
Russian market. Yeah.
I'm sure it did.
Soviet
Here, I don't-
Union and break box office.
So in Soviet Russia, cow shoots you.
The cinematography was good. Like, it was a well shot movie. Like, I was judging it hard for the podcast. I was, I want to see if this is actually a good flick or not, because the English dub was just pissing me off so much. There was some spooky parts where you see I guess you do get to see like the hands of the witch crawling through the crib for a baby and stuff, and it looks like it's all
Yeah, I remember seeing that in the trailer.
black and burnt or whatever,
Yarn.
and that was pretty cool. You actually see more of the half human, half birds, which I'm sure you guys are gonna fill in more about that in the legends. Those were a little creepy, but I kind of wish they would have explained more about the witch. Like, they just kind of tell you that she's a witch and she likes to eat children's souls.
It's enough for me.
That's it.
more than
What
enough
else
for
do you
me.
need to know?
Well,
I'm
I mean,
why does she like it?
how did the legend start? Like, that's where I'm hoping you guys can fill us in, because the movie just kind of picks up where it's almost like, and this makes complete sense because it's a Russian movie. You had to go into it already knowing about
I was gonna say
the Baba
it's a
Yaga.
very big,
Does that make
very big
sense?
part of Russian culture.
Right.
So
So if
don't
you
have
went
to-
in already
Right,
knowing the history of it, the movie probably would
made
have
a little more sense.
been more satisfying,
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah, because they do like a really brief history at the very beginning, just saying that she was a witch that eats the souls of children, and they killed her somehow. I don't remember. And then she's looking for a way to come back, and she's
Aren't
back.
we all? You know.
Sometimes
Backstreet's back.
All right.
Yes, that's why you guys are my friends.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's not.
wasn't worth the $5 to rent it. I would have rather bought it for $5 because I probably could rewatch it at Halloween because I did like enough of it. But to rent it, no.
Nyet.
No.
All right, Aaron, tell us of who this Baba Yaga lady is.
Mother, Brone.
All right, cut that.
No,
I
leave it.
had
That's
it. I
comedy.
had it. I had it. I was there. I was ready
You
for
had
it.
it.
And then Mother, Bone Breaker, Helper, Goddess, Witch. Baba Yaga is all of these things. She is a large portion of Russian and East Slavic folklore. There are hundreds of years of folklore and history and thousands of stories in Russian and Slavic folklore. She's depicted as an ugly, evil witch. She's usually a tall, gaunt lady. She's rather thin.
Yeah.
She's supposed to have bony legs, which may mean she's either just really thin legs or they may be actual bones that are just exposed. She has a very long nose. Her schnoz is excessively long. They say in some of them she could lay on her back in the hut that she lives in, and it could touch the ceiling.
Yeah, like
Crazy long nose. And she uses it to smell the people that
This is
are
Pinocchio.
around her. She can.
They say that
sense of smell. To say what?
Oh, and because they say because her smells so good that it could be that she's blind.
Yes, there's a possibility she may be blind because she has her.
And none of this was in the movie.
Yeah.
Well, she wasn't made of yarn in the stories either. I don't think.
No, I
French
figured
toast.
that was probably made for
Like
visual
seriously,
effect in the
Bic
movie.
lighter. All you need to defeat somebody made of yarn.
Maybe it's a wet yarn.
Waterproof matches.
So no, that's no. Okay. So she's got disheveled hair. And something I read she had an iron nose. Yeah, I
What?
know. It popped up in some of us was saying she has an iron nose.
I feel like I've
This-
actually heard
this
of that.
lady has been in Slavic Russian folklore for like literally hundreds of years. So like
Couple things.
she
gonna
is
pop
everything
around.
from 3 foot to 7 feet tall, and is
She's got every
you know
power in the Marvel DC universe.
Whew.
except for the power of love.
Wait for the video game on that one.
She reigned over time, life, death, and the elements.
We just skip and talk about her house.
We get to the house. Do you want to talk about the house? Let's talk about the house.
You
Talk
keep-
about
you keep
no.
going.
We'll get
You,
that was the
keep
base
going.
of the origins.
I like listening to you talk.
She's the most popular
That's why I
and
do this
complex
podcast.
character in Russian folklores and traces its origins to the ancient Slavic goddess who is the link between life and death, or our world and the underworld.
How long did you say it's been around?
Hundreds of years.
Forever, hundreds of years.
Okay.
Yeah, she's like I was saying,
literally
like
forever.
you said, if you were Russian, it might make a little more sense or whatever because she has such a
Well, the
large
reason why I
part
asked
of
is
it.
because it's I'm trying to type around my mic here. It's so incredibly similar to the Brothers Grimm tale of Hansel and Gretel.
Right.
Really, well, similar.
And I was trying to find out what year that was. I think it was like 18. Oh, I want to say 1808, but I'm probably wrong.
Yeah, she
I
showed
think
up.
the earliest they're oral stories. Like they didn't write her down until years after she started.
Okay,
so like
1812 for Hansel and Gretel.
Like one of the most popular stories with Baba Yaga is I'm going to butcher this and I apologize. Vasilia, I think it is Vasilia the Beautiful, something like that. I loved the story, but it was an oral story passed down about a daughter whose mom dies. When her mom died, she gave her this little wooden doll and said, "Hey, if whenever you need help, just give this little wooden doll a little bit of food, a little bit of water, or a little bit to drink, a little bit to eat, and it'll help. It'll help you." Yep. The dad remarried, evil stepmother, evil stepsisters, that sort of thing started. She basically turned it like full on Cinderella story, like turned into a maid, had to go to Baba Yaga's house to get some fire. And the doll basically helps her do all these tasks, both for her family and otherwise. So the coolest part about this story is that she goes to the Baba Yaga's house, and the house, by the way, in the folklore, has chicken legs. It's a treehouse on giant chicken legs, and that's so cool. They think that has something to do with like fishing villages and stuff or something. But
really?
Yeah, because like houses on stilts. Her house is on stilts, except it's on chicken legs.
I don't think
you
it
can
has to do
actually
with witchcraft. Like how they
use chicken legs.
Chicken legs and like
gobble gobble.
They said
Anyway, but when the coolest part about the story is so she completes these tasks for the Baba Yaga, who then gives her a glow, like a skull that's on fire, basically. Like
off her fence. Her fence is made of human bones. Around the hut, there's a fence made of human bones, and there are skulls that cap each like post or whatever. Human skulls with glowing eyes.
This would have been so much cooler if they would have put that in the movie.
I'm sure budget-wise.
Well, and so the skull, so the Coles brought in the skull lantern ended up when Vasilisa, probably.
Vasilisa, that's what it is, yeah.
That sounds right?
Yeah.
But when Vasilisa gets home, the skull like burns her stepmom and stepsisters. Like it like murks them fully. So and she ended up marrying the Tsar, or ended up she turned into like a seamstress and went to the capital city.
And she made clothes so beautiful that it caught the eye of the Tsar.
Yeah, and then the Tsar was like, "I like your clothes, fam. You want to get hitched?" And so they did. But yeah, like that was they've made books about it and stuff.
That's one of the most popular stories that involves her.
It's like the one, yeah.
Okay.
So the girl goes to the house. It's her time for marriage. The stepmother's jealous of her because she's so kind and beautiful. And the sisters.
Well, because the doll does, like, she's the maid, and the daughter does all the work.
The maid's doing all the work, or the doll's doing all the work,
and keeping the girl young and beautiful because she's not working herself to death.
They're trying to make her work hard, make her get wore out, and
turn gross.
But the doll is the one that's doing all the work. She asks the doll. She feeds the doll. She asks for help, and it does all the work.
Fuck.
And then when she goes to the Baba Yaga.
Because she feeds
like
all she has to do, again, like a little wooden doll, all she's got to do is give a little bit of something to eat, a little bit of something to drink, and then it'll help her. And so like at night when her stepmom's like, "Dummy, do the dishes and take out the trash," she's like,
"Nah, fam, I'm gonna have my dog
take this bread and a little bit of this G Fuel." And then the doll does it all for you.
Right.
Or does it all for her. And she does the same thing at the Baba Yaga.
That's why the Baba Yaga, that she doesn't, there's history of being called cannibalistic, which is where some people say the bones come from for the fence. But
I just think they look cool.
She sets forth, the Baba Yaga always does tasks. she puts tasks out. If you meet her or whatever, you have to complete certain tasks. And if you do it well and you do it, whatever, you live. And she'll usually gift you something. And she came there asking for fire. And because
what she had to do, she had to do a feast for like 12.
Feast for 12. Clean the courtyard and hut. Prepare wheat. Wash linen and sweep. And she has the doll do all this, except for
everything except for
the feast, which I'm surprised she didn't like just kill her because
she's like, yeah, you're good. Baba Yaga's like,
I didn't expect you to do this well.
Else, right.
The doll has done all the work for her. Like, but the Baba Yaga doesn't know that. But she's so pleased with the way she's done the work and everything. She grants her the gift of fire, and then she takes the skull back, and sets her family aflame. Well, Russian folk. You think? I mean, the original Grimm stories, like you were saying. I think were you talking last time? The folklores were a lot darker than we got portrayed by Disney growing up.
Well, yeah.
If you get a chance, look up there's Ivan Bilibin. Ivan Yakovlevich Bilibin. He did he's got some artwork out there.
Yeah, when you look up,
so cool.
When you look up pictures of her, there's one of his is the most popular.
It's like looking at a stoner metal album cover.
So that's actually
like the sword would reincarnate him just to make album covers for him. They're so badass. Well, speaking of like Grimm stories and stuff, along the same lines, she's also pretty prominent in the Hellboy comic series as well.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm. And Hellboy being very much Grimm-esque as well. She is in. So I remember in Hellboy, she does her and Rasputin become buddies, and she's like, I need to make sure that you live forever. Give me your soul. And she helps him store his soul for a while, and they become super close and stuff. So I remember that. I'm not sure where Hellboy comes into play. Ryan, where does Hellboy?
He visits her.
Is Baba Yaga? Because she's she's a super villain. So.
She's a. Oh God, man! It's been a while since I saw that movie, the new movie.
He visits her at her hut.
He visits.
No,
her
I'm
at
talking
her
about
hut
the comic book series.
I haven't read the comic of Hellboy.
Oh,
that's one comic I never really got into was Hellboy. In the movie, I think he has to go in to talk to her for information because she's so knowledgeable and she can strike deals and stuff. And he does strike some kind of deal with her. I just remember it being terrifying. The movie itself was fun. I didn't mind it or whatever, but the whole part with the Baba Yaga, it's terrifying. It was creepy as hell. But I never read the comics, so I don't think I can't dive into that.
She's in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different stories in the comic series, and all of them are pretty badass. Koshi the Deathless. Ages ago, Baba Yaga took advantage of Koshi's fear of losing his soul. She told him that even part of the path he took was dark and bloody, but he could still be redeemed. The witch sent him on a quest to slay the last breeding pair of dragons and their hatchlings in Russia so that mankind would be spared. However, in doing so, he murdered the family of his adoptive father. So apparently you go to kill dragons and you kill your adopted dad's family instead.
Nice.
Yeah. Nobody likes stepdads. What?
Jeez, that was harsh.
I don't know. I've never had that.
Yeah, I don't remember reading that comic personally, but yeah, Hellboy's investigating missing children and comes and finds Baba Yaga, who then curses a town and disappears into this another dimension, and she sneaks back and forth and stuff, and she's real sneaky,
spooky lady.
But I think what's because she's not. This isn't. I mean, this being folklore is a little. I mean, granted, we don't really have much of a theme, but she's not a cryptid. or anything like that. Like, there's no, oh my God, I saw.
She was a cautionary tale that I mean, I didn't do it, but my parents did, jokingly. If you don't be good, and if you don't do this or you don't do that, they would say the Baba Yaga might come and get you and take you to her house or her hut or however you want to word it. It was just a cautionary tale, and then it just obviously evolved into something way, way more.
When you guys were kids, did your parents ever tell you cautionary tales about something coming to get you?
Mm-hmm. They did to mess with me.
I gotta hear it.
I don't remember what it was though. Oh yeah, I do. I can't remember what book it was from though. You guys remember the book of the girl that had the ribbon around her neck?
Yeah, that was Goosebumps, wasn't it?
I don't think it wasn't Goosebumps. I was on.
That was Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
That's what is either that or something else. But that royally scared the shit out of me when I was a kid, because I can't remember what the tale was. Like the kid took the ribbon from the grave or something, and the girl walked around trying to find it, and she would like put her hand on your window and
I don't know this one. This isn't from Scary Stories.
She had a ribbon on her neck, and if you took the ribbon, her head comes off.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that I literally had nightmares about that when I was a kid. So they decided to use that to their advantage. Whenever I wasn't doing something, they'd be like, "Oh, you better be careful," or whatever. That girl, I can't think of the name of the character. She might come to your window. I was like, "Oh, I don't have a ribbon. I didn't take her ribbon." And then my mom would be like, "Oh, I found this ribbon." And of course, it's just something she had lying around, and I would clean my room immediately. Whatever the hell they needed me to do, I did it. And then 5 months later, I caught on to their bullshit, and I was mad.
It seems I did some research this morning while we were waiting to jump on, about all I just Google searched boogeyman, and I was like, it was wild to see how many cultures out there have their own version. So my old man used to tell me about Bodak or Bodak.
Oh yeah. Now, are these all different versions of the Baba Yaga?
Baba Yaga?
Because I feel like they could be the Baba. When you guys said Baba Yaga the first time, the first thing I thought of was the Babadook. That movie. Babadook.
I think that's just an alliteration. I don't know if that
Babadook
comes from a storybook. Right, but it turns out it's the mom who's going to kill the kid. Babadook. It's all about killing kids.
Oh yeah, I mean it's all
she'll kill
cautionary tales.
So I wonder if it's all kind of derived from the Baba Yaga. That's what I'm saying. I didn't know. I was curious.
Well, I don't know. I don't think she isn't really the boogeyman per se.
In the movie, she is. It's all in her head. She has mental issues.
What?
In the Babadook.
I never watched the Babadook.
Oh, what do you think I was talking about?
No, it's a boogeyman, but I mean, she's not. I don't know.
No, she's not the boogeyman.
Right.
No, I don't think she is. But I thought maybe these were. You know how stories are twisted and developed into other things, like Psycho. And look how many things that's been. That movie from Alfred Hitchcock. Look how many other movies that spawned just from that one idea.
Right.
So yeah, I see. You're equating it to film. I see what you're saying. Yeah, you're right. There 100% is, and I mean, every culture has an unruly child into it. Oh, yeah. And what better way to have a kid behave than to tell them that if they don't behave, some sort of creature is going to come take them away and eat them or kill them.
Right.
We had Bodak, who's an old man, who turns into a hobgoblin.
Oh, that's not what I thought it was.
Yeah,
that's creepy.
Yeah, it's super creepy, but it's the same thing. He comes down your chimney to kidnap you if you're being naughty. So
that's it. That was the thing.
Was really
for the most part, as far as I knew, she doesn't do anything unless provoked. She doesn't come chasing people down. I think it was more of a cautionary tale. Don't go in the forest by yours. Don't go. Yeah. Don't talk to strange witches. No, and that's the thing,
don't talk to strange
none of
that.
That's a lesson we can all take seriously, I think.
You said it so seriously. Yeah. That was incredible.
It was people would take their children to her some of it talks about most of her thing.
Yeah, I remember reading
most
that
of her
one.
thing is it feels like it's more learning how to discipline your children or prepping them for marriage, because it's usually girls that get taken there, and they have to do like cooking,
chores,
sweeping, cleaning the house.
Right,
and
I forgot about that
some people said that might be something where it talks about it, because Vasilisa was at the age for marriage, and the reason and
so learn how to cook.
No, that's what I'm
juicy
saying.
stuff,
It's like
or the
or
witch
the
is
witch
going
is
to
gonna
eat
eat
you.
It's kind of
So, oh wow, Aaron, I never
set
even
feminism
No, and
considered
that's-
back
that.
a little bit there. Didn't
yeah.
it?
And that's the thing. Like that was part of because that's why the stepmother was jealous of her, because she was at the point where she
Right.
was ready for marriage, and the suitors were wanting to marry Vasilisa, not her daughters, and so that's why there was some exactly.
Trying to turn her to an old
It was-
maid
it's-
or something. by hard
Vasilisa is
work.
very similar to the Cinderella story. Instead of
truly.
of a fairy godmother or whatever teaching her, it's the witch,
an evil witch in a wooden doll.
Which because there was
Honestly, it's
another
cooler.
story talking about how they send you there, have you do the chores or whatever. There was a father who gives his daughter the Baba
Mhm.
Yaga. He leaves her there and has her train or whatever. And she gets all of her tasks complete, and she has little mice that are helping her. She uses mice in the forest and something are trying to help her.
I remember this story.
And then the stepmother, she returns. He returns to her, find her. She's rich because she's been. I think she was making clothes and selling them or whatever, and has made a ton of money off this beautiful clothes she's made. The stepmother gets jealous,
as people do,
and she sends her daughter. And the girl is terrible. She's killing the mice with a rolling pin, and
instead of letting the mice help her.
And she doesn't do any of the chores. And Baba Yaga decides to break her into pieces and put her bones in a box. So it's there's.
So do your chores if you want a husband. And is basically what the story is. Like that. Yeah, I never considered that, Aaron. That is kind of what they're going for there,
it's
isn't it?
a preparatory thing.
That's super weird because
Interesting.
I never. I mean, I didn't do research like you guys did. Just again, told
That's what we
not
like
to.
about
It's
this.
okay.
That's our goal,
Right. But like even just my firsthand knowledge of what I remember of the story, I don't ever remember any of that. I always just remember it being creepy.
Right.
Just the whole she eats children's souls, don't go into the woods, don't mess with her house. I remember the chicken legs. Wasn't it mobile too?
Yeah.
Like couldn't it
Yeah,
get up
you
and
can walk
walk and
around.
stuff? Yeah.
And like you have to, if you want it to face you, you have to like sing a song.
Yeah, let's talk a little more about her hut. She's got a pretty
That's
cool
terrifying.
hut.
Which was
She's got
not
a hut
in the,
with chicken legs.
which was not in the movie at all, and I was kind of bummed out.
Luckily, it
about
was
that.
in Hellboy.
Right.
You know
it was
what?
in Hellboy.
I'm now that I'm thinking about this movie, and you guys are talking about it. I'm wondering if this movie is supposed to be like a continuation of her in general, because there's no fence of skulls, there's no hut with chicken legs, there's just a shack with a furnace in it and stuff. I wonder if they were just trying to modernize it,
Sounds like
and
it.
it failed.
Yeah, that's just it.
Well, I mean, it failed because it didn't stick to the story very well.
It just wasn't that scary.
As most
I loaded the
new
photos, it's
readers
just not
should
that.
say.
Okay.
That's
Anyways,
true.
go ahead. Yeah, go on with
So
the
the
hut.
hut in different stories, usually it's mostly portrayed with chicken legs. It also, in some stories, has goat legs, or ram's horns, or spindles. It's a fence that's surrounded is made of human bones. She's got a lock on her gate made from the sharp teeth of a human jaw.
To stop you from getting in, so you don't go through the gate and hop the fence into the Baba Yaga's cabin with giant chicken legs and goat horns.
Right.
Who would want to break in? I don't get it.
In the
but
stories,
okay.
some people
Dumb
end up want
kids.
to go in there and check it out.
Some people's kids.
Um,
Like going to the Velisca murder house or something.
No one in her stories are ever eaten. But that's why some people lean towards cannibalism with the fence that's made of bones.
Bone in a box.
Nomadic Siberian hunters built storehouses on top of tree stumps to deter animals from getting into it. So some people think that might be where the raised up, because in one of the videos I was watching on YouTube about it, it's like a 4-foot off the ground sticks that are holding up these storehouses, or pieces of wood that are holding up the storehouses. So,
Keeps the bears away.
and there's Swedish Sami. Sami? Is it Sami?
Sam, I like
Sami.
Sammys.
I think
I would
it's
say Sammy.
it might be Sami. I think it's Sami.
That's what they say in Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Sammy?
Say Sammy.
Yeah, we'll go with it. Storehouses and British saddle stones are similarly built, raising the storage unit off the ground. So if you look at, I mean, you can look at pictures of them and you can see where there's
One of them,
similarities.
I saw a picture on one. I think of one of the videos that you and I probably both watched, Aaron. One of the videos, they had a still of one that like legit looked like it had rooster feet. Like it just looked like chicken feet because it had 4 legs,
Which
and
actually, that
then
was
each
pretty
leg
cool.
had jutted out from it and was all brown and stuff. It was really cool. I remember hearing about this when we were kids, and I was just absolutely enthralled by the idea of this house. I thought this chicken house was just so wild, and I just remember thinking the imagination it must have taken to come up with this is just absolutely bonkers. But Russian folklore and me we get along really well, like Rasputin and.
You were saying the phrase to get the house from spinning.
Oh yeah, I can't remember what. Yeah, because this house spins as it walks.
Yeah, it's constantly spinning. It doesn't stop. Like, because is Baba Yaga in Howl's Moving Castle? Is she the Baba Yaga?
I don't. Maybe I saw. So when I was looking at pictures, I saw people had clip art of her.
Which I think she.
So I want to say yes, just because of the face and the fangs.
And she's got a house
but
that
I don't know.
that walks, and
Yeah.
I can't remember if it's definitely spinning.
And she's
or
a
not.
curmudgeon, and she's a little old lady.
She's a witch.
And, like, yeah. So probably, I mean, it's probably just their iteration of it. That makes a lot of sense.
House will only stop spinning if you say, little house, turn your back to the forest and your front to me.
Little house, little house. Turn your back to the forest.
No thanks.
Car wash is closed. Car wash is closed.
As far as her mode of transportation, she flies on a magical flying mortar.
Carpet ride.
She uses a pestle. She flies around in a giant mortar and uses a pestle to direct it.
Seems like, all right. So I know that, Hansel and Gretel. So I get
It's number one.
the whole, like, all right. For me, flying around in a mortar and pestle seems very unrealistic. Now, let me follow up by saying it's flying. But, like, flying on a broom, at least the broom's kind of light. Mortar and pestles aren't light.
It's called magic, dummy.
But it's magic, dummy. But to Aaron's earlier point, the big thing though is, getting girls, telling them stories, getting prepared for marriage and home life, and the mortar and pestle was such a big part of their day-to-day activity in grinding grain and food, and that they use mortar and pestles all the time. Too. So, and medicine.
She did have a broom though. She used that to sweep away the path of her flight with it. Which I don't know how that works. Apparently, maybe she's getting rid of the the jet streams,
levitation.
Jet
streams, chemtrails, folks, chemtrails.
Yeah, and she's got a bunch of magical items too. She's got an enchanted mirror that turns into lakes. Combs that can transform into forest, handkerchiefs that become rivers,
like full on terraforming stuff. That's how wild the stories get, though. Is from something as small as a girl trying to get a skull with some glowing eyes to burn her family, to lakes turning in from handkerchiefs and stuff. This is bonkers.
Well, and that's the thing. She was supposed to be like a goddess of. She was supposed to have power with nature. Like, that was another thing that she was supposed to possess. The story, Vasilisa, when she's approaching her hut, she comes across 3 different horsemen. There's one that's dressed in black on a black horse. And what is it? Okay, so the first one she comes across is a man dressed in white on a white horse, accompanied by Daybreak, and his name is Day. The second man is...
Not to be confused with Dave. Hi, Dave. Hope you listen.
I doubt it.
Continue.
Second is a man in red riding on a red horse, and behind him the sun rises, and his name is the Sun. And the last one is a man dressed in black on a black horse, bringing the oncoming night.
And his name is George.
Right.
There's a lot to take in. I mean, this is a lot to take
His
in.
name is Night.
Yeah,
Well, that's the thing. That's just...
Tatiana would have been very helpful.
I know.
That's what
She's in control of the 3 horsemen. Baba Yaga is. So she controls morning, day, and night. Like that's she legitimately
she's a
when the horse
deity
comes
at
in, when the horseman appears, night appears or whatever. Like he brings these things with him, and she can turn night into day and whatever. So yeah, she's a very powerful witch, I guess.
And then but that also, Aaron's also kind of illustrating the scope of the story of Baba Yaga is that because in the folklore she's so freaking old. She's been around for so long. It's everything from a little old woman who's kind of scary,
little lady from Pasadena,
to someone who is so omnipotent that she controls the day and night. Like it's in so like the stories are just ridiculous.
So,
there are so many.
Do you guys in your research then? And I told Aaron this. I can't remember if I told you this or not. Tatiana, we were going to have on the episode to tell us what she knows about it. The character in the movie that I watched, that is the Baba Yaga's little minion, the half human, half bird that's supposed to lure kids into the forest and stuff. Her name was Tatiana in the movie. So that actually right away, that actually kind of spooked me out a little bit. No, that can't be true.
If she ever wants to come on and I know she couldn't make it today, but if she ever wants to come on and clarify, she's got an open invitation.
Yeah. But in your guys' research, I haven't heard, and somehow I knew this before. You guys didn't hear or read anything about the half human, half bird people?
Half birds. No.
Yeah, so she had like a little workers.
Let me get on the Google machine
or whatever that were half. They looked like half human, half birds, and they would also go out and help try to either kidnap children or lure them into the forest.
I remember.
Yeah, it's Siren. They're called Sirens. Head and chest of a beautiful woman, the body of a bird.
I'm just surprised.
Sirens. They're sirens. They're sirens.
You, but I was like, maybe you're.
No, it's
right.
Siren. Sirin is a mythological creature of Russian legends.
Right.
But they're also they're sirens. It's the same thing.
Yes.
No, there is no.
You guys just didn't run into it.
No.
Weird.
I know she had she's got a lot of power over animals, elements, and even time. But I knew she had control over animals that she could. But I didn't know that in particular. No.
Yeah, and see that was that was in the movie. That was one of the only things that I'm trying to get a picture here loaded so you guys can see what it looked like in the movie. But one of the only things that I remembered from it. Move out of the way here. That's what the Tatiana character looked like.
Huh.
But she could look like a human though too. So until she actually started to hunt, I guess, if you want to call that, or show her true form, she looked like just a beautiful woman.
Yeah, it's completely different than what.
So weird.
They have in here, nothing like the sirens that they portray.
Ryan, this movie has ruined it. Don't believe anything that you read.
I heard that before I saw it. Remember, I heard about the chicken feet. I heard about the eating children's
We heard about the chicken feet in school.
Right, and I heard about the half-bird, half-human creatures, I guess. I guess creatures was a better term, and the movie made it a beautiful girl.
They're called cryptids, thank you. Cheers, bud. That was great. I think this is really, really good subject, Aaron, to bring up.
Well, thank
For
Tatiana. She's the one that requested it. So
it was her,
yeah,
wasn't it? Yeah.
This is nothing to do.
Thank
I don't
you,
do
Tatiana.
anything great. This is all from other people.
Oh, you do lots of great things. I've seen you.
When did you?
Should we dive into that? What's not the Baba Yaga real quick that Aaron wanted to
What's
talk about?
not the Baba
Baby
Yaga?
Yoda?
John Wick is not the Baba Yaga.
Oh, preach it, brother man.
Which they don't. I saw multiple people talk on it, and it's just like nobody understands why they chose to call him the Baba Yaga, because he's not an old witch woman.
Other than it's a Russian mobster.
It's a Russian mobster. It says it, but
when it translates,
he says
when he speaks Russian and he translates it says the boogeyman.
right is what he says, but it's nowhere in translation anywhere is it considered to translate. He's like, what's the line of? He's like, he's John Wick. He's the
fucking Baba
Yaga, the boogeyman,
the boogeyman.
And I'm like, and it doesn't, and every's like,
Great
no,
monologue,
nowhere
by the
this
way.
makes sense.
Like incredible. Scene.
Right? No, I love
it
the
is.
John
It's
Wick
fantastic.
movies.
Incredible scene.
And then, like 20 seconds
Nothing.
later, he's by himself and he says the Baba Yaga again, and it actually translates it in text on the screen to the
Boogeyman.
boogeyman. Now, maybe that's just the nickname they gave him because he's Russian and that's their folklore.
Well, everybody.
And they know that that witch kills people, so maybe that's just.
The fence
You know
of
what,
bones
don't
around his
defend
house
it.
that he built after they got
I'm
the
not.
dog.
I'm rationalizing.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
No, I love the John Wick movies. I think they're great. I'm not a huge action movie fan, but the John Wick movies are phenomenal. Like, just
So good.
they're a piece of art. But yeah, that's something nobody really has a good outside of the fact that the mobster's Russian and it sounds cool in Russian. And like you said, it could be it's a popular thing, but he shouldn't have called him the boogeyman after.
I think it would have been fine if they would have just stuck with calling him the
Right,
boogeyman
exactly.
instead. Like, that would have made way more sense. Which, I mean, I guess, thinking about it, if you go and watch the movies again, they do call him the boogeyman more than they do
Right.
call him Baba Yaga.
I think
guess.
it's only
I
like
guess it's only
twice
a couple
in the movie
times.
they say.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking on all three of them. I'm pretty sure they call him the boogeyman
Right.
in all three of them. Now that I think about it, but
If Theon Greyjoy would have just left the poor puppy alone and not steal his car.
yeah, but then we wouldn't have all these good movies. Mm-hmm. And crimes has had to have gone down. He killed a lot of bad people.
He is cutting.
He killed a lot of bad people.
It's a downright bad person buffet, you know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah, it is.
Hell yeah, brother!
When did you say the Hansel and Gretel?
Hansel.
Grimm
I think I said
fairy tale?
1818.
Okay.
I know that was after this.
So
Because I
Is
know.
it Hansel and Gretel, is that Grimm?
yeah, Grimm
Yes, that's
fairy
Grimm.
tales.
It's Brothers
I
Grimm.
thought so.
So the etymology dates back to at least the medieval period. The first documented evidence of Baba emerges in woodblock prints, which from the 17th century and early 18th century. Woodblock printings, indicating she was known as a figure in early oral traditions. The first mention of the Baba, I'm just going to keep going with Baba because I don't want to keep correcting myself every time I do it, is
Just go,
Yeah,
yeah.
just go.
is in
Boba.
the 1755 notes of a Russian grammar book by poet and scientist Mikhail V. Luminasov. I haven't put it. I haven't
Just call
put
him
the
Mikey,
pronoun-
all right?
Not
Mikey.
not gonna work here anymore.
Lumansov.
What'd you call me?
All right. Making two mentions of her, including in a list of comparing Slavic and Russian gods corresponding to Roman gods, and she has no counterpart. So she is solely like, because you know how like with different gods and deities in the past, they'll be like overlapping in different cultures where this god is called this and this whatever. But
yeah,
she
yeah.
doesn't have a counterpart. So there's no Roman gods that were compared to the Baba Yaga.
Well, she does. John Wick.
First narrative account is in Vasily Levshin's 1780 collection, Russian Fairy Tales, in which she is depicted as terrifying and dangerous with teeth like tusks and hands like bear claws. Oh, wait, no, there is also, until 19th century, largely only known in Eastern Europe. She became internationally known when translations of Alexander Afanasyev's 1855 to 1863 serial publications of 600 transcribed Russian folktales appeared in the 1870s. It was stylized very similarly to the Brothers Grimm. The inclusion of his the places where he heard the stories lends greater scholarly legitimacy, saying it's got more of a legitimacy with the Russian that it was actual folklore. And as Sean Patrick was talking about, Ivan Bilibin used the book to create some of the most famous renderings of Russian folk creatures. So, yeah, if you want to look in, like you said, his art is
I don't know if I've seen
good.
his, but I googled some. I wanted to see some old art.
I was gonna say if you looked up her name and did art, it was probably one of the first ones that popped up because it's it was really popular and it popped up like 5 or 6 times in the top 10. So
okay, then I probably did
then. In cinema, there was it was used in socialist propaganda. To instill problem solving, hard work, and courage, because these were characteristics they wanted their people to have. As we talked earlier, it showed up in Hellbook comics and movies, TV shows like Lost Girl, The Magicians, Supernatural, and Arthur. Yeah, she even shows up in Arthur. Did you guys watch?
I think I think Arthur's probably where I saw it as a kid.
I was gonna say, did you guys grow up watching Arthur?
I've seen her. No,
she had her. It was they showed a clip of what it was, and the house was in it. It was the house with the chicken legs.
Oh, maybe I did then. I'm trying to think if I've seen her in Supernatural yet, and I don't think I have.
Apparently, she had a Fortnite character. And I found out just while doing the research, which is why I started playing Smite again. She's got a character in Smite, which is pretty cool looking. Storytelling was an essential part of life for the Eastern Slavic and Russian peoples, whose folklore was popular in all social classes. It was customary to skazka, folktales, at feasts and weddings, as well as share them during times of work or rest at home. She was and still is one of the most popular characters in Slavic folklore. Her story lives on.
Da 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 dun 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 dun.
I think that's really all I've got on her.
I really need to see, because I've been trying to plow through Supernatural now, and I'm kind of curious. I don't think I've seen that episode or not.
I'm not sure when that episode is.
I showed a clip of it. She looked creepy.
Was it creepy?
She looked like she was doing the thing.
Doing the thing, he says.
Oh, let's see.
Sam and Dean versus the Baba Yaga.
That's the first thing that came up for me, too. I just want to know what season. Well, SP just texted me he lost computer functionability. So, we'll just keep going. We're almost done anyways. Not a big deal.
Yeah, I think that's really all pretty much
I can't find the...
Dang it, I didn't get a picture. I was going to have a picture. I always take a picture the day we record. I didn't get a picture of the rest.
Oh.
I was going to have us all do a picture of our sponsorship of choice.
Well, we can do it. God damn, where is it? What episode is that of Supernatural?
I had it pulled up.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Season 15, episode 16. Introduce a new creature, the Baba Yaga. I've got a ways to go.
There are like 15 episodes?
That's like no, season 15, episode 16. That's what the Google search just said. I didn't click into it. I figured that was... I don't know how they get screwed up that bad.
Right. No, it's season 15. But I mean, how many seasons are there? I thought there was only 15 seasons.
Yeah, but I'm only in season 3. Gotcha. Yeah, I just started like 2 weeks ago, I think. It's good, though. if anybody's wondering, like, I never watched it when it was on TV because I hated one of the actors from other stuff he'd been in. He just annoyed me because he was a little pissant in most of the stuff I'd seen him in. But now I adore both of them. So, if anyone's wondering, it's the Jared Padalecki guy who plays Sam. Everything I'd seen him in, he was just a whiny little girl. I was like, I can't stand him. But no, I love it. So, it's good.
I guess we didn't go over the name origins.
Okay.
Baba originally referred to a married peasant woman of childbearing age or older. Now it's more used for Old Russian used for midwives, sorceresses, and fortune tellers. Currently, Baba is a derogatory term for a difficult old woman. It's indigenous Eastern European languages. Baba was used for pelican, which could possibly explain why she has a lengthy nose, because the pelicans have the super long beaks. Now, Yaga is a little harder to pin down. It could mean horrible or horrifying. Russian verb meaning to ride. Early Latin for snake. Yaga is most often interpreted as Baba Witch, Old Granny Witch, or Evil Baba.
Old Granny Witch is the one I've heard.
Right. And originally it was Yaga with I-A-G-A, not Y-G-A.
Weird.
Which is Yaga is associated with disease, illness, horror, or rage. It may have just lost her original name, which was something so horrible it couldn't be spoken out loud, so they had to use a substitute. But
wow.
that's just an option. But yeah, so I think that in the original writing when it was written out, it was Baba Yaga. And yeah. So yeah, the name is kind of up in the air, but Boogeyman does not fall into any of the definitions.
Something separate. Well, you want to do what we've been reading, watching. I finished Ready Player 2.
Nice.
I'm sad that's over, but it was good. I don't know how they're gonna do a movie on it.
Are they planning to do a
movie? Yeah, apparently it's in early development right now. I looked it up after I finished the book a couple days ago just to make sure, but man, I don't know how they're gonna. I keep on saying I don't know how they're gonna do the licensing, but I mean they got The Shining for the first one, and that's huge. So yeah. I don't know. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. is a character in the second book. I highly doubt he's gonna come back for this movie, or at least his likeness in a computer generated version of himself, because it's from the movie Weird Science, if I remember right. It was a good book though. If anybody's a fan of the first one, it's good. I can see why people didn't like it though. It does make some weird choices, but I was fine with it. I don't know. I'm a nerd, so I thought it was good. I'm not done with the book 1 of Saga yet. That's my next thing I'm going to finish, and then I got book 2 in the mail. I haven't started that yet either, though. All right, you want to close this out, or got anything else you want to discuss? Future topics? Do we even know? Have we even just talked about that?
I don't think we have. Kind of just take it like a week by week. I was going to make a list off of what we had discussed that one day, like through the text, but
yeah, I think I
got busy at work.
I think I cleaned my threads. I don't think I have it.
Disgusting. Clean it threads. I get it, though. I need to... It's been a while.
Saturday morning cartoons.
I don't know if I can remember what I watched.
X-Men.
I was watching Spider-Man with my nephews last
Batman.
night. I put that on the 1980s Spider-Man. It is corny.
Yeah, they all are. Oh, I still have some of it, actually.
No, nothing else. With a statement from Andreas Johns, who wrote a book on the Baba Yaga. It is clear that there can be no single correct interpretation or understanding of Baba Yaga. So...
All right. Well, why don't you go ahead and close this out? You got the text.
I don't have the text. It's all up here. It's all up here. Thank you for listening. As always, if you would like to follow us or contact us for anything, you can find us on Instagram and Twitter at WDTP Podcast. Our email is wedon'ttalkpolitics@gmail.com. You can find the podcast on such sites as Anchor.fm, which is also where we record it. You can contact us on there as well. You can leave voice messages on Anchor.fm, which I'm surprised none of our listeners have done yet, knowing some of our listeners. You can leave a voicemail on there, and we can include it into the podcast. You can transport it from your messages to the podcast, which would be kind of funny.
Yeah, leave like a 5-second review. Even if you say we're bad, we'll toss it on there. We'll think it's hilarious.
We'll throw some reviews out. We'll let you know what you're thinking.
I may have opened a bad door.
Right.
Continue.
Or if you would like to request, we can have it as the opener, the intro to the podcast, saying, hey, I would like to talk about this, which we would love to hear. We want to hear what you want to talk about. We would love to. I love researching. I love learning more. Like, I didn't know. I knew the name. I'm pretty sure that's all I really knew about the Baba Yaga.
Oh, really? That's it?
I knew she was Russian. I knew... That was about it. I thought she was a witch in Russian. So, like, a lot of the stuff when we go, I'll have a very base, limited top knowledge of it, and then I get to research, and I love researching about this kind of stuff. Folklore, cryptids, just the weird, the paranormal.
The supernatural,
if you will. Yeah. So please give us some suggestions. Today's episode was a suggestion by Tatiana, which we appreciate the listening and the suggestion.
Yes, thank you.
It was fun. I think that's
I'm glad you're nice and not the evil Tatiana in the movie I watched. Cause...
I'm glad you're not half bird, half human.
Yeah. Because she even had one bird leg that was like broken and it was pointy, so when she walked, it stabbed into the ground and made creepy marks and stuff. I wasn't scared. I mean, I was scared because her name was Tatiana, but when I was happy, I was like, "Oh, that's actually kind of cool."
It's a peg-leggy, like.
I'm glad it's not real.
All right. Well, we will wrap it up there. So,
all right.
Thanks for listening.